Oh, hi, good morning.
Según mi horario, estoy en descanso.
How are you guys?
Fine, teacher, and you?
I'm pretty good, okay? Thank you for asking. Okay, let's start. I'm gonna start sharing my screen with you. Okay, as you know, my name is Maria Alejandra Alvarado, and today I'm gonna be your tutor for this reading section. Today is November 18th, 2022. So for today, we have a topic which is media work. Um, but before do this session or starting, I would like to remind you that it's mandatory to participate if you are doing your observational practice. And also that this online language community is a space that was created in order to improve our different skills. And today we are going to be focused on reading, all right? So let's start. The topic for today, as I told you, is media work. And for today, I have some questions for you as a warm up, okay? So the first question is, what do you consider that is the best media or social media? Let's start with Laura.
What is the best social media? I think that Facebook. I can read a lot on Facebook
Why was the reason?
because we can find a lot of articles.
Okay, perfect. Paula.
Yes, teacher. Hello. I consider that that the social media is not good, but I like Facebook because there I can find fun things or fun pictures and funny pictures and sometimes articles, or sometimes I can communicate with some friends or family.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so what is this? Give me a second, please, guys. Okay, Laura, what do you watch or see news and why? Where do you watch or see news?
Teacher, I don't used to watch or read.
Sorry, what did you say?
I don't used to watch or read news.
Do you usually do that? Okay, okay, no problem. Laura, what about you?
Sorry, teacher, that was Laura.
Yes, I was Laura.
Teacher, I think I don't watch news. I just know about some important news because my husband reads some news or something that is important. But we don't have TV. We don't watch movies, or just I know about news because of Facebook or because of other people tell me that. Then I'm looking seriously, and that's okay. That's all.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna show you a couple of videos, and then you're going to answer the last question, what's the most controversial fake news that you have here, okay? I'm gonna give you time to, I don't know, to think about what's the most controversial fake news that you have heard, okay? So, meanwhile, I'm gonna show you this video. Wait, hold on. I don't know. Ah, that's why.
There's a quote usually attributed to the writer Mark Twain that goes, "A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes." Funny thing about that, there's reason to doubt that Mark Twain ever said this at all, thus, ironically, proving the point. And today, the quote, whoever said it, is truer than ever before. In previous decades, most media with global reach consisted of several major newspapers and networks which had the resources to gather information directly. Outlets like Reuters and the Associated Press that aggregate or re-report stories were relatively rare compared to today. The speed with which information spreads now has created the ideal conditions for a phenomenon known as circular reporting. This is when publication A publishes misinformation, publication B reprints it, and publication A then cites B as the source for the information. It's also considered a form of circular reporting when multiple publications report on the same initial piece of false information, which then appears to another author as having been verified by multiple sources. For instance, the 1998 publication of a single pseudoscientific paper arguing that routine vaccination of children causes autism inspired an entire anti-vaccination movement, despite the fact that the original paper has repeatedly been discredited by the scientific community. Deliberately unvaccinated children are now contracting contagious diseases that had been virtually eradicated in the United States, with some infections proving fatal. In a slightly less dire example, satirical articles that are formatted to resemble real ones can also be picked up by outlets not in on the joke. For example, a joke article in the reputable British Medical Journal entitled "Energy Expenditure in Adolescents Playing New Generation Computer Games" has been referenced in serious science publications over 400 times. User-generated content, such as wikis, are also a common contributor to circular reporting. As more writers come to rely on such pages for quick information, an unverified fact in a wiki page can make its way into a published article that may later be added as a citation for the very same wiki information, making it much harder to debunk. Recent advances in communication technology have had immeasurable benefits in breaking down the barriers between information and people. But our desire for quick answers may overpower the desire to be certain of their validity. And when this bias can be multiplied by billions of people around the world nearly instantaneously, more caution is in order. Avoiding sensationalist media, searching for criticisms of suspicious information, and tracing the original source of a report can help slow down a lie, giving the truth more time to put on its shoes.
Now let's see this one.
How do you know what's happening in your world? The amount of information just a click away may be limitless, but the time and energy we have to absorb and evaluate it is not. All the information in the world won't be very useful unless you know how to read the news. To your grandparents, parents, or even older siblings, this idea would have sounded strange. Only a few decades ago, news was broad-based. Your choices were limited to a couple of general interest magazines and newspapers of record, and 3 or 4 TV networks, where trusted newscasters delivered the day's news at the same reliable time every evening. But the problems with this system soon became apparent as mass media spread. While it was known that authoritarian countries controlled and censored information, a series of scandals showed that democratic governments were also misleading the public, often with media cooperation. Revelations of covert wars, secret assassinations, and political corruption undermined public faith in official narratives presented by mainstream sources. This breakdown of trust in media gatekeepers led to alternative newspapers, radio shows, and cable news competing with the major outlets and covering events from various perspectives. More recently, the internet has multiplied the amount of information and viewpoints, with social media, blogs, and online video turning every citizen into a potential reporter. But if everyone is a reporter, nobody is, and different sources may disagree not only on opinions, but on the facts themselves. So, how do you get the truth, or something close? One of the best ways is to get the original news unfiltered by middlemen. Instead of articles interpreting a scientific study or a politician's speech, you can often find the actual material and judge for yourself. For current events, follow reporters on social media. During major events such as the Arab Spring or the Ukrainian protests, newscasters and bloggers have posted updates and recordings from the midst of the chaos. Though many of these later appear in articles or broadcasts, keep in mind that these polished versions often combine the voice of the person who was there with the input of editors who weren't. At the same time, the more chaotic the story, the less you should try to follow it in real time. In events like terrorist attacks and natural disasters, today's media attempts continuous coverage, even when no reliable new information is available, sometimes leading to incorrect information or false accusations of innocent people. It's easy to be anxious in such events, but try checking for the latest information at several points in the day rather than every few minutes, allowing time for complete details to emerge and false reports to be refuted. While good journalism aims for objectivity, media bias is often unavoidable. When you can't get the direct story, read coverage in multiple outlets, which employ different reporters and interview different experts. Tuning into various sources and noting the differences lets you put the pieces together for a more complete picture. It's also crucial to separate fact from opinion. Words like think, likely, or probably mean that the outlet is being careful, or worse, taking a guess. And watch out for reports that rely on anonymous sources. These could be people who have little connection to the story, or have an interest in influencing coverage, their anonymity making them unaccountable for the information they provide. Finally, and most importantly, try to verify news before spreading it. While social media has enabled the truth to reach us faster, it's also allowed rumors to spread before they can be verified, and falsehoods to survive long after they've been refuted. So before you share that unbelievable or outrageous news item, do a web search to find any additional information or context you might have missed, and what others are saying about it. Today we are more free than ever from the old media gatekeepers who used to control the flow of information. But with freedom comes responsibility. The responsibility to curate our own experience and ensure that this flow does not become a flood, leaving us less informed than before we took the plunge.
Okay, so this is an interesting topic nowadays, as you you can see or you know, there are many social medias where people share information, and sometimes it's not new or a good resource on information. I mean, a fact is just an opinion. So I would like to know, guys, what is your point of view about it? Have you ever heard a fake news? What was the fake news? Um, and did you spread this information? Because sometimes we get this information, I don't know, nowadays we receive message on WhatsApp, um, and I don't know, people who don't have the ability to go to Google or something like that. For example, in my case, or my mom or some uncles, they don't know how to use very well some their cell phones. So just they just receive this information and they're like, oh my god, what's going on? And just resend or spread the fake information. So I would like to know, guys, if have you ever heard a fake controversial or controversial news that is fake. So let's hear Paula.
Yes, teacher. Um, I don't remember it very well, but I think fake news that I have knowledge is uh is usually on United States. Something about Trump and Hillary Clinton and all the things, but once that Hillary Clinton supposedly Hillary Clinton had amount of children's or young people. I think it was young was children's that she had those children's in a pizzeria and I don't remember to say that como debajo, como en el sótano. I don't know how to say that. And a guy went there to rescue the children's, and he was with a gun, and I think, I don't remember well, but I think he killed someone there, and the guy went to the jail. But that was a fake news about Hillary Clinton, and he read that in some page, and he trusts on that. He believed that and went to rescue the child. And other things that I saw a lot is, for example, in Facebook, there is a lot of fake news, and also um or more about famous people. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, I don't know, for example, a singer, for example, Gracie. Oh no, Gracie said that she doesn't love her baby, and it's like fake news, just that. And I don't like to share that kind of information. I don't share news. I don't share nothing about that. I receive always some news or some articles that people send me, and I never read that.
Yes, and sometimes I don't know, even in YouTube, there are some videos where I feel like a long video explain to you how an actor was killed or passed away when they are alive. I mean, it's like
Yes.
they're killing people and like and sometimes I remember that my mom was on YouTube and yes, she saw a video related with an actor that and they mentioned that they passed away or something like that. And no, he's alive. What's going on? Yeah, it's really creepy. Let's hear Laura.
Yes, teacher. No, teacher. I used to don't read news, so probably if I read one that was fake, probably just believe it. I don't search for more information.
Okay. So, well, the topic, as I told you, is related with media world, and the reading part appear history, yeah, related with something that happened in real life, and I would like to share a video where there is a kid explaining what really happened. So let me.
Good evening, folks. I'm Mr. E, and this is Kid History, where we find out about famous events that happened on this date in history. Today is October 30th, and on this day in history, we go back to 1938. It was a Sunday evening, which was prime time in the golden age of radio. You see, back then, there were no smartphones, laptops, or even televisions. There was radio. And on Sunday evenings, most Americans would be tuned into their radios. On this particular night, the CBS network let 22-year-old movie director Orson Welles broadcast his radio version of The War of the Worlds.
Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air in The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
Now, the problem was, when they were playing this introduction, most Americans were listening to another show on NBC, and they missed the introduction. And they switched over to CBS about 10 minutes into the show. By then, the story of the Martian invasion was well underway. Imagine tuning in, expecting to hear your regular show, and then you hear this.
It is reported that at 8:50 p.m., a huge flaming object, believed to be a meteorite, fell on a farm in the neighborhood of Grover's Mill, New Jersey, 22 miles from Trenton.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most terrifying thing I've ever witnessed. Wait a minute. Someone's crawling out of the pit. You can make out a small beam of light against a mirror. There's a jet of flame springing from the mirror, and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Lord, they're turning into flames. The field's caught by the woods, the cars, the gas tanks of the automobiles spreading everywhere. Coming this way now, about 20 yards to my right.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the
Most people
broadcast of
tuning in
Grover's
late
Mill.
thought it was a live broadcast.
Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars.
Millions of radio listeners believed that a real Martian invasion was underway. Panic broke out all across the country. Terrified civilians jammed the highways seeking to escape the aliens. People begged police officers for gas masks to protect them from the toxic gas. They told electric companies to turn off their power so the Martians wouldn't see their lights. One woman ran into a church service and yelled, "New York has been destroyed! It's the end of the world! Go home and prepare to die!" It was unintentional, utter chaos. When news of the real-life panic leaked into the CBS studio, Orson Welles himself went on the air to remind people that it was just fiction.
This is Orson Welles, ladies and gentlemen, out of character, to assure you that the War of the Worlds has no further significance than as the holiday offering it was intended to be. You will be relieved, I hope, to learn that we didn't mean it, and that both institutions are still open for business.
Although no laws were broken, the networks agreed to be more cautious in their programming in the future. Orson Welles feared that the controversy from War of the Worlds would ruin his career. Instead, it helped him land a big Hollywood studio contract. And in 1941, he wrote, directed, produced, and starred in Citizen Kane, which many have called the greatest American film ever made. And that is what happened on this date in Kid History. Until next time, folks, I'm Mystery, and this is Kid History.
Okay. So now that you have just an idea about the reading part, so let's do the reading part. So Laura, can you please read this test?
Read the text and what does the real story behind the War of the World show us? Ladies and gentlemen, I have a a grave announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, those strange beings who landed in Jersey farmlands tonight are an invading arms from the planet Mars. This announcement in 1934 supposed scared million Americans into believing that thousands of their fellow citizens were fighting for their lives against giant aliens. It came from the radio play Read Orson Welles that was based on H. G. Wells' famous 1898 novel The War of the World, and it has become an American media legend. However, as we all know, legends are rarely based on the truth.
Okay. Grace, please,
Yes, teacher.
can you please read?
Yes. The arrival of the radio in the 1930s provided people with an exciting new channel of communication, but it also provided newspaper with unwanted competition. Throughout the decade, more and more people had come to rely on the radio for news, and newspapers had been losing income from advertising. In addition, many people were worried about its possible use as a form of mind control. The War of the Worlds gave newspapers the perfect excuse to exploit these fears and attack their rival as irresponsible. The day after the play was broadcast, newspaper front page claimed the radio play had caused panic across the country, with people rioting and even committing suicide. However, the stories were fabricated and completely false. Recent research has shown that most people were listening to another radio station that evening, and there are no records of mass hysteria.
Okay. Laura,
The newspapers of the time wanted the public to believe that new technology could not be trusted, and they didn't
I don't know
of
if
the world as an example of how the media could think that the whole episode is an example of something even more worrying. It shows that how media could fabricate and maintain a lie for nearly a century.
all right. So I'm gonna send this information to the chat. You're going to read again and answer the questions. I'm gonna give you 10 minutes to read again and answer the question, and then we socialize the answer, all right? Answer the question, okay? So you can read again and answer the question. I'm gonna give you 10 minutes. Then, yeah, I think that 10 minutes is enough time. Okay, so let's see the answers. Okay, so the first one is the announcer on radio played in 1934. So the first one of the letter A said American farmers were being attacked. Letter B suggested that what he was saying was difficult to believe. Letter C explained that America was invading Mars. Letter D was suffering from panic attack. Let's see what were your answers. Yes, the number one is letter A. Very good. So number two, H.G. Wells' famous novel was adapted for radio. Letter B decided millions of people. Letter C became famous in 1934. And letter D was about media manipulation. Let's see what were your answer. Is it that letter number two was letter B? Letter B, number two. Number two is actually letter A. It was adapted for radio. Okay.
Okay, teacher.
Number three, newspaper didn't like the radio because A, it was more excited. It was controlling people. Letter D, worried people. And letter D, it was a rival for income. Let's see what were your answer. The answer is letter D. Yeah. Number four, the stories in the newspaper about the play. Letter A were based on information from another radio station. Letter B, have been forgotten about today. Letter C, are only being questioned today. Letter D, explain what really happened. Let's see what were you answered. Yes, number four, explain what really happened. And the last question, the writer wants to show that letter A, people can make to believe that they are being attacked by aliens. Letter B, there wasn't enough advertising for both the radio and the newspaper in 1930s. Letter C, the radio and newspaper our enemy. And letter C, the media can create legends. That is the truth. Let's see where you answer in the last letter by D. Exactly. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. It was nice to having you in this section and have a wonderful weekend. Nice.
Thank you,
Okay,
teacher, for this
Thank you,
class.
teacher.
okay, guys,
Bye bye,
bye-bye.
teacher.
See
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye, Laura. Have a good day.